Welcome to Notebook, a program of interest to the St. Lucie County community that features information about St. Lucie County schools. Guests include school district and community leaders with focus on children in our community.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Notebook. This is a show that connects you, our viewers, with community leaders, district personnel, and other organizations throughout the Treasure Coast. And we are so glad that you're here with us for this next hour. We have a show full of great information to connect our community, especially those who are preparing to send their children to preschool and to kindergarten. And I know those are times as parents that can be a little stressful, more so I think for us than even the kids. But this is especially going to be giving you some direction. Where do I start if I'm new to the district? What are some areas that I can help my child transition into pre-K and to kindergarten, just to make this transition so much easier, and they're well prepared. In addition to providing, we're going to share some resources that are out there for parents to take a look at, some things that you can get involved with during the summer, and just some great things that are happening around the Treasure Coast. So we're going to welcome our first guest, Dr. Mary Huffstetter, who is our early childhood coordinator for St. Lucie Public Schools. And this woman is so much fun. We have such a great time when we work together, and we're just glad to have you here. But before we kind of move forward into the show a little bit, I'd love to have you kind of share a little bit about yourself, just so we know who Mary Huffstetter is and how you came to the position that you're in now. So share that a little bit with us.
Okay, Jane. I started in St. Lucie County as an ESE teacher at Parkway Elementary, and I came from Martin County. I was a behavior analyst in Martin County, and just really loved the teaching part of the classroom. So went into ESE, and then opened up Savannah Ridge Elementary with Dr. Barbara Bush, and was the ESE department chair there and a teacher. And then from there, goodness, I went to USF, completed my doctorate there. My doctorate's in curriculum and instruction with a focus on reading and language arts. And then I was a visiting professor there and taught graduate and undergraduate courses there. Had a great time, but really missed being with the little kids. I missed being in the classroom, missed that interaction. I was dealing more with the teachers. So then I came back to St. Lucie County as a literacy coach, and then moved in to the district office as the RTI coordinator. And then this position, through the partnership with HMH, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, made a position that we could interact not just with our St. Lucie Public School teachers, but with the Head Start teachers and the many fabulous private pre-K sites that we have in the district. And so this is, I found my calling. I just enjoy every single minute of what I'm doing now, working with those teachers who work with the kids at the age where they're so impressionable and so willing to do anything you ask them to do, and they just, it's not tough to get a group of 4-year-olds excited about learning. So that landed me here.
And you have hit every gamut, really, from pre-K to college age, and I'll tell you, there is nobody more engaging. She can engage at whatever age it is. You just make it so much fun, and we have a great time together. And I've had a chance to work with some of the pre-K and kindergarten teachers and some of the conferences that you've put together, and just they so love and so enthusiastic about what they do and being a part of that, and that enthusiasm comes from the top, which you really set the stage for that. And I'll tell you what, how far our pre-K and our kindergarten K through 2 has just come, in the time that you've been over this whole program. I'll tell you what, it's exciting to see. So
thank you, Jane, but I'm going to argue that point with you, because those of you who don't know, Jane came and did a professional development for a group of our pre-K teachers, and Jane is phenomenal with everything, but with music and dance and getting people excited about it. You got a standing ovation, and they all are asking, when is Jane going to come back and do another session? So we have a great team. We have a great team of early child, and you're going to meet another great partner later on in this show, in Cassie Dillard. But it's taken a great team effort. Myrna Rodriguez with the Head Start Center, and Tony Loop with the Early Learning Coalition, and all their fantastic staff. This wouldn't be possible without them.
Sure.
And that's what's nice. We go to other places around the state, and they'll say, well, how did you get the Head Start people to talk to you? Or they're easy. It's a team, And we might not always get it right, but we just say, okay, let's get in there and do what we think needs to be done and
Right.
keep going onward and upward.
And you and Karen and Cassie, you work so well together and have established such a great network with everyone just across the county, whether it's private or Head Start or public school. And, you know, that's the key right there, is building those relationships, you know, from every gamut to make it all work together. And that's, you know, you can see the success just, you know, from the beginning to end. And I know great things are still happening and coming, and it's exciting.
It is exciting.
So-
You mentioned Karen. It's Karen Crosby, who's the other one who works with Cassie Dillard, and it's fabulous because I never really see myself as an administrator, but I said if that just means I can take credit for the things that Cassie and Karen do, I'm all in, because they really have taken this up, and I don't worry about any of the details because they've got that all done when it comes to pre-K registration, enrollment.
Sure.
They're in the classrooms coaching and modeling and mentoring our teachers, and it really is. And really, I'll get on my soapbox. That's where we should be putting most of our
Absolutely.
resources in early childhood. We have the knowledge to eradicate illiteracy and numeracy, and we just need to make sure that all kids have those opportunities.
Right, and setting that foundation in pre-K, you know, I know your focus is mainly, you know, the pre-K to second grade, but setting that foundation for the kids as they progress into those testing areas, you know, you're creating all of that right then, and you know, and to establish that strong foundation for them at age 3 and 4, and then you're just going to see it just scaffold, you know, throughout the year is so important. So, yeah, the resources are coming. So, keep doing what you're doing. So, well, as we're talking about, our focus really through this next few minutes is going to be kindergarten. Cassie's going to come in a little bit and talk about the VPK. So let's back up just a little bit. And before the show, we were kind of talking. At this point, we're hoping that the majority of people who are in the community have already signed their kids up for kindergarten, if that's where they're headed. But I know we may have some people new to the community that may not have any idea how to start. You know, what's the process? How do I go about doing that? So can you walk us through how a parent, if they were new to the area, how would they go about signing their child up for kindergarten?
Oh, absolutely, and we're going to strongly encourage, if you haven't, and we know there are reasons why you don't or haven't so far, and like you said, if they're new to the county, really our student assignment department over at the district office is fabulous, and I think we'll put the phone number there on the screen. Michelle Jerger and her team, they're unbelievable, and as long as your child is 5 on or before September 1st of next school year, they would just call, or you could go to a school too, but I would encourage them to go to the student assignment office,
Right.
take proof of residence and the child's birth certificate, and then they'll go there and you'll get to choose. We have school choice here in this district, so you can choose the different schools, and then they try to really to make sure that siblings stay together at schools, and if you live within 2 miles of a school and that's your first choice, they try to make sure that you get that first choice close to your school. They'll do everything that they can to give you the school of choice for your child, and it's really a pretty simple process. Once you get into the right office with Michelle,
Right.
they do most of the work for you.
So really, if for someone who's watching the show, if they went on to St. Lucie County's website, St. Lucie County Public Schools, and then clicked on the student assignment, they would be able to see all that information right there on the website to really kind of walk you through the whole process.
Or they could just call and they'll set up, tell them to come in. Now the summer hours are 7:30 to 3, I think, is when they take their last appointment.
Right.
But if they call and make those appointments, there's plenty of appointments available to go in and get that done.
Yeah, and Michelle's got a great team of people that will, you know, walk them through the whole process. You know, for somebody that's new, especially if this is your very first child, that's a little bit more stressful.
Absolutely.
You know, worrying about all those small little things. Well, there are several ways that parents can help their child really transition into kindergarten. You know, I know we have, you know, a lot of children who are fortunate to go to preschool and transition into kindergarten. You know, some kids, mom and dad may decide to have them stay at home and work with them. But what are some suggestions that you would make to parents to help with that transition as they get ready to go into kindergarten?
I think it's probably more of the social emotional, and like you said, it might be tougher for the parents, especially if it's
Yeah.
their first child going to kindergarten. maybe some of the separation anxiety. But you're right, for the kids who have been in a pre-K program, it won't be as big of a transition. But make it fun. Make it fun for the kids. Cassie is going to show you a little bit later. We have a website that has some suggestions on what to do. You can go on and the parents can see where the standards are, what the kindergarten standards are. But it's really not the responsibility of the parent at this point to get the child ready for school.
Right,
As you said, all the wonderful things they've done so far, just continue to do that. Read to your kids. Read at least 15 minutes every day, but find what they're interested in and read to them. And I know some parents are saying, why do I have to read this book to my child 500 times? And they want to hear it again, hear it again, hear it again. And I read a real nice analogy, and we'll use LeBron James. Everybody pretty much knows who he is.
Yeah.
How many hours does he spend in the gym perfecting a shot from one particular spot on the floor, just so it's automatic, and that's what these kids are doing. When they hear their favorite stories over and over again or listen to that language, they're becoming reading professionals, language professionals, and that's so critical. Have parents, it's really part of becoming a part of a community too, so you can take little field trips with your kids and show them where the school is going to be. Maybe talk about one of the biggest, I think, transitions is going from a small table like this where you're eating family style in your pre-K center to a pretty large cafeteria where most of the kindergarten kids have to eat. So kind of talk about that too, or take them to the food court at the mall and say, it's going to be, it's going to be louder, there's going to be a lot more people here, and start talking about how they can be a little bit more independent. I know sometimes we try to do for them. Let them, if they make a mess, fine, but have them help you with setting the table or cleaning up after themselves, keeping their room clean up. Those sorts of things, just following simple directions is critical. If the child hasn't been in a pre-K program and hasn't really been around a lot of other kids, I would encourage you to take them to the park and give them the opportunity to play with other kids. One of the biggest problems we see in pre-K and kindergarten is problem sharing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just not, well, even with adults, if you had your cell phone and I took it away from you, you would not be happy with me.
Yeah.
But even sharing it, or if you're doing something that you really like, okay, your time's up, now it's somebody else's turn. So some transition things and following directions and just talking about, if you're a parent where English is not your first language, just some concepts. If you talk about, show them concepts on, under, behind, those sorts of things, because kids are going to hear that, line up behind Tommy or line up behind Janie. And
those keywords.
So some concept development, and then just have fun, go places and experience, give them as many background experiences as you can. And I'm not talking about Disney World or anything that's going to cost a lot of money. I think we'll talk here about, there's so many things in St. Lucie County, but get the experiences and the vocabulary built up. Oral language, vocabulary, and social skills with other kids are really the critical pieces going into kindergarten.
Sure. And I can remember even when my kids were little, we would do things in the car. You know, if we were traveling, because we're from Ohio, so we would have 20 hours of driving sometimes, and we would just do simple games of counting all the red cars that you see for 10 minutes, or you know, just little simple games that we would do. And I can remember one game that we played was who is it? So you would have to give clues, and then everybody would have to try to figure out, you know, what kind of animal it was, and, you know, just making little connections to make it fun for them. So, you know, it's just as easy as that, you know, just with the time that you have in the car as you're, you know, going to the grocery store or something, or counting items in the grocery store, you know, just simple things like that. So, just lots of ways that you can do that.
Absolutely. And I know we're all wired, and I think our attention span is probably less than our kids now. A lot of times when you go out, you see somebody on the phone, another person on the iPad, and yes, there are some fabulous apps out there, but just interacting and carrying on that conversation and really paying attention. Give your child that undivided attention, because that's what they want more than anything else, and then asking them probing questions. So if they're telling you about something, they're really excited about it, get them to expound on that idea and just let them share their interests with you.
And that's kind of where the technology has kind of affected this new generation, because they are so used to interacting through text or through Instagram. My kids are doing the Instagram thing, or Facebook or whatever, and that one-on-one can sometimes be a little challenging for them. They would much rather just text it and not have to do the face-to-face. So, you know, to really build those social skills that kids are going to need for school, is so valuable. So
Right.
very,
they're going to
very
have
important.
17 new friends that
Yes,
they're going
they
to be
are.
interacting with and more. Because the other thing, I know we spend a lot of time when kids are young telling them, don't talk to strangers, don't talk to
Right.
strangers. So we can talk about the different people who they're going to see on their campus. Maybe talk about the role. What does a principal do? What does an assistant principal do? Who are you going to see when you go into the lunchroom? There's a guidance counselor. There's a lot of different people at the school. And in kindergarten now, maybe for the first time, they're going to be changing classes when they go to resource classes,
Right,
music
right,
class, the media center. Talk about those sorts of roles so they can say it's okay to talk to those people and it's okay to interact with them. And just kind of, like you said, manners and the way that you interact with people. Because I know some kids are going, oh, I can't talk to you.
Yeah,
You're a
exactly.
stranger. And they won't be strangers for long.
Yeah.
They'll endear themselves quickly. But
Yeah, so fun. We have a lot of resources that you wanted to share, some things that parents could get involved in that don't cost a lot of money. Most of it's free.
Absolutely.
That a lot of people may not be aware are even available around here, especially for people who are new to the Treasure Coast. So can we share a little bit
Oh,
about that?
absolutely.
How about we go to our Treasure Coast website? This was new to me. And actually, I've lived here for 20 years. So,
and this isn't exhaustive, but if you go here and just go to the kids events, I think.
Okay.
On the
Right.
And it'll pull up. It tells you a little bit of what's happening. I know the Oxbow Center is on here. They have wonderful things. They've got wonderful hiking trails. Lowe's and Home Depot, they offer workshops for kids. And those are
All free, right?
You can go on there and see what's coming up. The Children's Museum of the Treasure Coast, I know that's not St. Lucie County, it's in Jensen Beach a little bit further, but it's fabulous, and the kids love it, and just again, giving them the experiences. And not even things on here, the parks, the beaches.
Right.
There's so many free places in St. Lucie County, even if you don't like to fish, go down to the lake and whatever it is that you enjoy or whatever your child enjoys, and talk about it. They call it Think Aloud. So talk about your experiences. What are you doing just to continue to develop that vocabulary with the kids? And
that particular website is found on, it's called supportstluciecounty.com,
Yes.
right? And for someone who doesn't have access to a computer, I understand that there's computers at all the local libraries that are at their disposal. So, if someone isn't able to get to a computer, maybe that isn't home, there's lots of places that they can actually get access to that. And I know, I believe our Parent Academy,
That's what I was
that's
just gonna
part of
say.
part of St. Lucie County, is another place that they have a lot of resources that are available to them as well.
fabulous. And Kimberly Eardley is our
Yeah.
new executive director there, and she's just wonderful. And she'll welcome everybody with open arms. But there's computers there, and there are courses there, there are classes there. And if this is your little baby going to kindergarten and now you find yourself with some extra time and you're sad,
Yeah.
there's also a lot of different things you could get involved with at the Parent Academy. So I think that's a wonderful resource that we could certainly utilize more.
Right, right. And then you also shared another website. Let me see if I can go to.
Sometimes overlooked, but so critically important. Our
Oh,
libraries,
yes.
there's so many fabulous things going on in the St. Lucie County library system. And just get your child a library card if you don't have it already.
Sure.
Let them pick out books, but they've got story time. They've got events. They bring in authors. There's just fabulous things going on.
And if you go to the St. Lucie County, I believe it says stlucieco.gov. And here we are. Thanks, Greg. This is the St. Lucie County online where you can take a look at all the different things that are available through the libraries. And I believe, didn't you say there's a
click on that
summer reading
brochure.
brochure? Okay. So Mary shared this, and this is a summer brochure. And in this brochure, it shows you all the things that are available throughout the summer. And you'll notice over here toward the right, it even goes through August. So these are summer spectacular events that they share for kids of all ages. You'll notice this one here in the middle. It says St. Lucie County Reads, and that's inviting all kids grades kindergarten through 6 to participate in the Summer Reading Challenge. I know they have lots of, I remember when my kids were younger, they would go to the library in Fort Pierce, and Miss Sally had a little reading time with the kids, and they so looked forward to that. They really, really enjoyed that, and those are things that are free.
Absolutely.
And then she talks about the stories with the kids, and hits those standards that we teach every day, you know, talking about the characters and the setting, and the kids are able to transfer that right back into school. So
Absolutely,
lots of
and that
great
gives them an
resources.
experience that would be really similar to what they'll be getting in their media centers when they go to the resource classes too. So it's just one more experience that they'll become very comfortable with.
Right, which is really, really important. One of the other things that I was going to ask you, are there ever questions that you feel parents tend to have for you that you commonly have to address? Let's say, trying to think of different ones, maybe what the dress code is. I'm worried about how they're going to know the bus. Are there ever questions that kindergarten parents, you seem to be addressing certain questions more so than normal? Does anything come to mind?
Lately, I think because of the push on the standards, a lot of parents are asking me, what are the standards? What do the kids have to learn? What do they have to know? Or what do I have to teach them? And we do, Cassie's going to show you another website that gives a list of where you can find the Florida standards. And then we also just made bulleted points of some of the critical math and literacy skills that the kids are going to need. But as we said, the language development and the reading development is already so prevalent in our pre-K programs and in so many homes that it should flow very nicely into our kindergarten. Some people do have questions, though, about the transportation. I know that first day of school when you're putting your little one on a bus, those sorts of things. But St. Lucie County really has everything down to a science, and it really does work really well. I would just encourage the parents, don't feel like you're being a pest. Talk to your teachers. Really get to know the teachers
Ask
really well.
questions.
Get to know the principals. The principals want to share. And the more you're involved at the school, if there are events, if there are dances, and I know time is critical for everybody, but volunteer to help out at the school. And because that's going to be your family, your child's family for the next 6 years, if it's an elementary, or 9 if it's a K to 8.
So important.
Yeah, just become involved and don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no stupid question. So and if you don't ask it, you're not going to know.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid to ask any question. Yeah, that's what we're there for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to close this segment of our show. We just so appreciate you being here
Jane,
and
anytime, Jane.
everything that you do for the district. Just know that you are appreciated, and just all that you do and what you've accomplished with your team is just amazing. And I know things are going to continue that same direction. Her enthusiasm and energy, she's like the ever-ready bunny.
And if I keep grabbing people like you down with me,
which makes it so much more, it makes it so much fun, and we love it. And just again, thanks, and we'll look forward to great things even for next year. So see what's coming. Well, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go away, and we're going to have one of Mary's team members are going to join us, Cassie Dillard, to share with us a little bit about our VPK program and where we're headed for next year. We'll be back.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice, she's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
Well, welcome back to our second segment of our show, Notebook, and we have a new guest with us, Cassie Dillard, who is the program specialist for our VPK program in St. Lucie County Public Schools, and we appreciate you being here today. And we have a chance to talk almost every day, so we get a chance to kind of catch up with each other and find out what the other one is working on. You are always busy doing events and working closely with all of the VPK teachers and putting conferences together. We have so much fun. I love those.
do.
So before we go, I always like to have the guests just share a little bit. How did you end up in the program specialist position that you're in now? maybe a little bit about how you came to St. Lucie County in the district. So share with us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, well, I am a teacher. I was born a teacher. I started teaching gymnastics when I was 13 years old.
No
so
kidding.
I've pretty much taught my whole life.
Yeah.
And so I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I went to school at IRSC and UCF, where I got my bachelor and master's degree in education. And from there, I've done some work in Indian River County, mostly through getting my degrees. A lot of my work was in Indian River County, where I lived. And then I moved to Orlando, and I've worked in Orlando, where I taught preschool children with special needs, which then brought me, when I wanted to move back home, to St. Lucie County, where I started teaching in St. Lucie County at Garden City. I taught kindergarten at Garden City and then VPK. And from there, I wanted to go bigger than just my own classroom. So
Right.
I ended up coming over to the district office, where I was able to start working with all of the VPK classrooms that we have in our district, coaching the teachers, doing professional development, and helping all of the kids in the entire district.
Right.
So that's how I got to where I'm at.
And you are a part of an amazing team. And I know we
am.
talked about that, when Mary was on, the first segment of the show. And the nice part is you have so much fun on your side of the office, where you guys are always planning and, putting things together to really strengthen the classrooms throughout the district, and not just the public schools, but you also work with some of the private and the Head Start. So many in our community may think of, when they think of VPK or preschool, a lot of times they'll think of those private schools and Head Start. And I know we have a very strong VPK program in the district itself, and the Head Start providers here. So share with us a little bit about those programs.
Yep, you're absolutely right. When you think of pre-K, you often think of private providers or Head Start, or the public school has a program.
Right.
We actually, in St. Lucie County, I like to say we all work really closely together, and we strive to build a partnership where all children that go to preschool, no matter if they're in the public school, a private school, Head Start, anywhere, that they have a really good, solid education of pre-K before going to kindergarten. In the public school, we have 18 VPK Title I classrooms. We have a full-day program made possible with the VPK and Title I combination at 13 different schools.
Right. And Title I, maybe some people, who are listening may not understand what Title I actually means, but that's federal funding that we receive from the federal government that actually makes these type of programs possible.
Absolutely,
Right.
yes. It makes
And
it possible for us to be able, VPK is really 3 hours, so when a parent applies for VPK, they're applying for a 3-hour program.
Right.
But in our model, we have the VPK Title I, where the Title I helps us to be able to provide that full day with the certified bachelor's degree or higher teacher.
Right. Now, there may be some, again, we kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, and you got to sit out there and watch as we were talking, that, especially at this point, we hope that most people have already gone through this process, but we may, as transient as our area is, we may have some people watching the show that may be new to the area. How would a parent go about signing their child up for a VPK program? I know you're going to talk a little bit about, our wait list system and kind of how that works, but kind of, if I was new to the district, where would I start?
Okay. Absolutely. We've already done several rounds of registration for the 15-16 VPK school year in the public school, but we are still taking applications for a wait list. The easiest way to see how to apply for VPK in general, not just in the public school, on our school district website under the VPK page. I think you're going to bring us there, and then we'll walk them through it. You're going to go to the VPK page, and when you get there, on the side you see registration.
Okay.
And you would click on Steps to Register in whichever language you prefer, and that opens our flyer. Now, our flyer on the first page, if you scroll down, you'll see the different school zones that we have. Right now, for the green zone, all of our classrooms are currently full, but we are taking waitlist applications. Okay. The blue zone, we're no longer, at this time, we're not taking any more blue zone because we have quite a large waitlist already.
Right.
And then for the red zone, we're taking waitlist applications for Allapattah Flats.
Okay.
Now, being on a waitlist means, since the classrooms have already been filled, sometimes parents may move and they'll call and let us know, I'm no longer going to be going there. Or maybe they don't want the school assignment that they received. Maybe it's too far from their house and it just won't work for them. Or the kids have the first 10 days of school to show up. If kids don't show up for the first 10 days, then we would be pulling from our wait list at that time.
Okay.
But in order to even apply for the wait list or just to get the certificate for VPK that the parent could bring to a preschool that offers VPK or apply for a Head Start program, they would follow step 1 that you see on the flyer.
Okay, so we'll pop back there. All right.
And for step 1, you have to apply for a VPK certificate of eligibility, and that's through the state for VPK.
So they would click on this particular link right here.
Yeah, if
Okay.
you want to click on it, we can show. You'll click
Okay.
on that link, and if you've never done this before, you'll have to create an account. So if you go down and you do continue, and then the parent at the top here, you would have to register for a new account. In order to do that, you do have to have an email address, but they will also give you some places where you can create a free email address if you don't currently have one.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you have to have access to the internet to be able to do any of this.
Yeah, it's not going to let us go back.
So if a family doesn't have access to the internet, they could always go to the local library.
Right.
Or the Early Learning Coalition of St. Lucie County has some computers and scanners set up where they can go there and do this process.
Okay.
So they'll create an account. They'll fill out the information on the Office of Early Learning site, and they'll also need to upload, meaning they'll have to scan or take a picture and attach it to their application of a proof of birth, like the child's birth certificate, and a proof of residence, such as a utility bill, to that
Okay.
site in order to be able to complete it.
Okay.
Once they complete step 1, they'll just check back to their email. Within a couple days, they should get an email that says their application has been approved and their certificate is ready. Or it may say that something is missing and they need to log back in and do that. So once that certificate is ready, you print that certificate out. That certificate is what gives you that 3 hours of VPK at anywhere that offers VPK, the public school or elsewhere.
Okay.
So that certificate then, if you're trying to register for the public school waiting list, you would then bring that, step 2, along with your child's birth certificate, original, not a copy, a photo ID for the parent, your child's social security card if you have one, and then also 2 proofs of address, which are explained a little further down there.
here, yeah.
And you would bring those to the Title I office at the school board, and we would take those documents, copy them, and also the parent would complete a packet for registration.
Okay.
And at that same time, they'll receive an appointment to bring their child back for a screening.
Okay, and that's step 3.
And
Okay.
so they'll register and they'll get a screening appointment, and it's really important that they come back for that screening appointment in order to complete their application.
Okay.
Once that's done, then it's just waiting to see, are
If
we
you
going to
actually
be
got a
able to
place.
have anybody else, come up, go into a seat off of the wait list.
Right.
And we would call or send a letter in the mail to let parents know that we had an opening.
Okay. And that's during that time when you're doing the screenings, we always get to see the little guys come through and watch you guys do the screenings with the kids and kind of working on that social, academic, a little bit of everything that you really, how much time do you actually spend with the kids when they come in?
The appointment is for a half hour. The screening that we do actually only takes 10 to 15 minutes at the most. When the parent actually registers, they complete a social emotional questionnaire. And then at the screening, it's a pre-academic standardized screening that we give. We play a game with a book with the kid. And,
Yeah.
it kind of gives us of where they're at to help, show their academic level.
Sure. And have a lot of fun in the process.
Yes, we play, and you get the cutest answers.
I bet.
They're so excited because some of them come with their backpack because they think they're going to school. They're so ready.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
really
cute.
awesome.
That's so cute. Well, we talk about standards a lot. Just being in the school district. This Department of Education has really established a strong base of standards that we follow, and VPK is no different. And one of the things that I was shocked in knowing is, I remember we were in a meeting at one point a couple weeks ago, I think, and Mary had made the comment there are like 140 standards for VPK, and that's a lot of standards and expectations to cover, with our little guys throughout the year, and they also have to provide a transition into kindergarten. So share with us a little bit about how that works as the VPK standards really transition our kids to get ready for kindergarten.
Okay. In Florida, we have the standards for 4-year-olds, and as you said, there are over 100 of them that we teach in the pre-K program, which is why it's so important that children get to school for pre-K to get that solid foundation. The standards allow, no matter where a child goes in Florida for a pre-K program, that they would be getting the same type of instruction to ensure that no matter where they're at, they're getting a solid foundation to prepare them for kindergarten. The standards it's not just reading and it's not just math, it teaches the whole child. The standards give us a framework for the teachers to follow to teach social emotional skills, math, reading, just self-regulation skills, everything, the whole child.
Yeah, which are great. And in fact, we had a chance to learn a little bit of those in one of our curriculum days that we had one of our meetings, and we got to be the pre-K kids. So she kind of put us in that role of really understanding, what the teacher is looking for and how the kids are learning, and kind of seeing it through the eyes of the kids. That was so much fun.
It is.
And anytime we do anything with you and Mary and Karen, it's always fun. So. But there's also another resource that many people may not be aware of is the Parent Academy, and I know we chatted just a little bit of some of the things that they have available for parents, especially for those getting ready to have kids go into either VPK or kindergarten. Share with us a little bit about some of the things that that are coming up.
Yes, the Parent Academy in St. Lucie County has lots of resources for parents. Pretty much, if a parent needs help with something, they can call Parent Academy, and Parent Academy will help them get the help that they need. One of the things, though, this summer, specifically in the month of June, Parent Academy has in the evening from 6 to 7 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, June 16th, 18th, 23rd, and 25th. Parents can sign up to bring their children, so the parents and their children come to Parent Academy, and we do some hands-on activities just to keep the children and families engaged and learning throughout the summer to help make sure that the kids are ready for the next school year, not just kindergarten, even up till 3rd and 4th grade.
Right. And there's a way, if you go on to the St. Lucie County website, there's actually a link that will take you to the Parent Academy. So it's very easy to get in contact with them, and lots of great resources that they have throughout the year, not just through the summer, but that program is just growing and growing. Kids doing some really amazing things with it. So just things that they're making available, pre-K to 12. I mean, it's just amazing, all the things that they're doing. Well, I know there are typical questions, and I kind of I asked Mary this similar question, but you get a lot of the same questions, over and over again through, as parents are getting ready to, send their kids to school. Share with us some of the things that you hear on a regular basis, some of those things that maybe might put some parents who are listening to ease a little bit.
I always get questions about how to register for pre-K, and we kind of already covered that. But
right.
Anytime a parent has any question, they can call us, and Mary, myself, Karen, we will answer their question. We will help them get what they need. About a lot of times now, in the summer and the beginning of the school year, we start to hear, what do they need to go to pre-K, or do they have uniforms? And those type of questions, I usually direct them to the school that they were assigned, because those are school specific. It varies from school to school, the uniforms and
what supplies they need,
and what they may need to bring. But I know getting your child ready for pre-K, especially if it's their first time in school, it's really scary.
Yeah.
Actually, today I had a phone call about a parent who the school isn't that close to their house, and they're trying to, figure out what their best situation is, and they're really hesitant about putting their child on a bus. Some of these kids are turning 4; they're not even 4 yet before they come, so they're babies when they go. And I tell them, from being in the classroom, the kids that don't ride the bus, they beg their parents to ride the bus.
Yeah.
So, to just assure them that St. Lucie County will keep their kids safe, and any concerns they have, talk to the teacher, talk to the school, and the teachers are there for their kids just as they are, and there's really nothing to worry about. Just have an open communication with the school and the teachers, and everything will be just fine.
Yeah, and I can remember my kids, when they were younger, they went to school with me every morning, because I worked at Village Green, and so they got to drive with me, and they always begged to get on the bus.
Yeah.
Can we please ride the bus? But we were too far away for them to get a bus, to Village Green, so that didn't work. But that was always such a big, they wanted that adventure, just kind of the unknown. But of course, they got a chance to do that once they started doing field trips and and things like that. But that is a big deal for a little one.
It is, and too, I think sometimes you see the big school, especially if the pre-K classroom is at a K through 8, and you can't imagine how your child's going to know how to get to where they're going. But there is the teacher in the classroom as well as an assistant, and in the pre-K classrooms, they're there, they're waiting for the kids, and they're looking for them, whether it's at the bus loop or the parent pickup loop or in the cafeteria. And children, sometimes we forget, they don't have all the things going on that we do in our
Right,
lives.
right.
We have to remember the bills and where we have to be next, and they just go, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So when they go to school, they learn their routine really fast.
They do.
And once they know their routine, they know it better than anyone else. And you can say, you know, who's absent today, and they know before
yeah.
the teacher can, you know,
That's
look
exactly
and see
right.
who's here, because they don't
Yeah.
have all the things that adults have to think about. So
Yeah.
really, all of the teachers are fabulous, and
Yeah.
the assistants and the kids are going to learn the routine, and they'll know exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that open form of communication, though, anytime there's a
That's-
question,
that's huge.
just ask the teacher, ask the school,
Right.
Talk to your child, and everything will be perfect.
Right. And the older kids too, you know, when you were sharing just a little bit about some of the schools, you know, at a K-8, when they are with some of the older kids, I remember when I was teaching at Allapattah, you know, some of the older kids would just take the little guys right under their wings. Okay, where do we need to go? And, you know, by the third or fourth day, they were ready to do it by themselves, you
Yep.
know, so you're exactly right.
Absolutely.
They know their routine, and once they've got it down, they are ready to hit the ground running, so, which makes it fun. Well, before we close, if there's any advice that you could give somebody getting ready to send their child for the first time to VPK, or it might be the first time to kindergarten, just in school in general, what advice would you give them?
Relax. It will be okay.
Yeah.
Ask questions and be involved. Be as involved as you can. You know, everybody, you know, they have to work and do other things, but anytime you have the chance to volunteer at your child's school, to go to a special event, be there. Because when children see that their parents are involved in their school, they see the value of education, which we want to instill in kids at an early age, so that when they have to become independent learners, they know how important learning is, and they really have a value for it because they saw how much their parents value
Yeah.
them going to school.
So true. And if the parents are excited, it's just going to, you know, go right down to them, to where that excitement is just going to continue.
Absolutely.
You know, as they go through their years, as they start with school from the beginning. So that's great. Well, thanks so much for being with me
Thanks for
and
having me.
being on the show. And just thanks for all you do. You guys, you know, I said this to Mary, your team is just amazing, and you guys have so much fun in the process. It's work, but it's fun work. And when you get to see the growth of the kids throughout the year, and the growth of the teachers, and see, you know, the resources that you've been able to provide for them, and just guide them to just improve their success. You know, it's so much fun to watch, and so much fun to be a part of it. So
Learning
thanks.
should be fun.
It should
And
be.
it is
should
fun.
be. And it is. That's
is.
exactly right. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks
and
for
for all
having
you
me.
do. And have a great rest of the summer. And we'll
You
be
do the
back
same.
hitting the ground running here in August. So it'll be
Yay.
here before we know it. Well, thanks so much for being with us on this session of Notebook. We appreciate you being with us, and we hope that you've gained some new information on how to get your child, or maybe even grandchildren, ready for VPK or kindergarten, whatever the case may be. We appreciate you being with us. Have a great rest of the summer. We'll see you back soon.